Hey guys, welcome back to part 4 of a tutorial series over FreeCAD. We are in 0.16. If you're in my last video, we made this part. It's very strange, something I wanted to do in there, but I didn't want to split up the videos in a very oddball way. If I went to Edit Sketch, and yeah, Edit Sketch, and I wanted to put some random shape in, maybe a slot. Control Z. That's not quite the size I wanted it to be. I wanted to create a slot in that sketch. All you would have had to do, and then it would the program would have automatically realized that there was a hole in the sketch, and then it would have generated that as well. Further example would be just something simple here. So if you're in my last video, you learned how to do a pad, which is this button right here. It's called pad. Yeah, see, it's automatically creating that hole. So let's do something with a little bit more symmetry to it and make a little bit more sense. So we'll create a new sketch, go on the XY plane, and then we'll do this. So create a rectangle on sketch. Which one do we want to use? Alright, let's just use a circle. That's pretty symmetrical, right? We will constrain that. And then we'll go ahead and constrain the radius of the arc. Don't forget to click on the circle on the arc. So, yeah, 250 millimeters. Let's do that. Alright. Let's put something random in there. Let's do that. Let's constrain that to that point, and then we'll fix the lengths of the line. 150. All right. So it's got an angle constraint that it needs. It's got 1 degree of freedom, so we'll go ahead and do that. So now it's fully constrained sketch. You generally want to stay in the fully restrained sketch realm. If you don't, sometimes there's problems, but it usually turns out okay. So go here, we'll go to pad. Once again, that's kind of this little button right here. It's yellow with a shadow below it. Here's that part. It actually kind of looks like we're making a set screw, a really big set screw, because because that's 200 millimeters in depth. So I guess a really big machine. So we created a pad. Now in this video we're going to go over more of these tools here that I have, like create a pocket, revolve, groove, fillet, chamfer an edge. We're going to go over more of those tools and what their implications are and what they can do. So let's move forward. So you can actually click on a face in FreeCAD and then click on create a new sketch, and you've automatically generated a new sketch on that face. It's very, very handy. So let's do, we'll do something a little bit more useful, let's say. Well, maybe not more useful, but triangle. Actually, no. I'm worried about symmetry. So right here we'll constrain that length to 100, and then 170, and we'll go 50 there, so that way it's completely symmetrical. I'm going to do a polar array next, and you'll see what that looks like. So we're not fully constrained yet. Let's go ahead and make that length 50. So alright, looks like we're fully constrained there. So if you guys want to learn how to make a divot in something but at a specific depth per se, or a hole, create a pocket. Let's slow that down a bit. Create a sketch, click on pocket, and you can kind of see that depth changing. So hey, for some reason we want that at 55 millimeters. Alright, you can make that symmetric to the plane, you can reverse it, which if you reverse that, that just means that it's still flat, which is kind of pointless, but just keep that how it is. We go 55 millimeters in. Okay, so we've created a object here. And let's say for some reason we want to groove it, maybe. We want to groove it, we want to maybe do a revolve feature or something. So let's do that. So create a sketch. We want to kind of know what plane it's on. You can see that here, it's a ZX. So, see? Alright, so we've seen that, we kind of know what it looks like. You can change, if you go to Pocket here, and you go to View, you can change different angles, deviations, but what seems, shape, color, and stuff, what'll probably become handy is this transparency. Change that to like 80. See, now we can kind of see what's going on beyond that. You can even see that pocket right there. So, do that, and then we will do that. Alright, so remember, it does have to be a part of the part. It can't be two separate entities. That'd be weird thinking about 3D printing parts in a 3D space. Think about like if you had one part on top of the other or one piece on top of the other, they weren't connected per se, and you tried 3D printing that. Well, try to 3D print in space, and it might mess something up. So we'll get into 3D printing on a later date, but we'll start here. So that's our sketch. Close. So this is the active taskbar. That's when stuff is going on. So if you can't use certain tools, check your taskbar. So click on Sketch and click on Revolve. So we're going to revolve that around that part. We would constrain it to specific lengths and degrees and however we would want it if we wanted to modify that. But we can actually change the angle. We could do it halfway, or we can do it the entire way. We can do it around the horizontal axis, which would just make a cylinder. But we'll just create on the vertical axis here. So, okay. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and make a change to this. Let's go back to 0 transparency. Back to a solid part. Alright, now that we've got our transparency set, there's one thing that we do have to get done here. So, I'm going to go to Part, and since these are technically two different objects, we have to fuse them together. How we do that is we click one, Shift, click the other, and then click on Make a Union of Several Shapes. So I create a fusion. You can also right click and rename them if you want. So I'm going to name it Part 2. If I wanted to. You can also set a color if you want to. Honestly, just want to keep it the same, so I'll just leave it there. Now we're going to go back to part design. I know I skip ahead a little bit, but we needed the fusion for that case. Reason being is it needs the groove that we're going to do needs a solid geometry, specifically from the part itself, rather than a plane to work with. And we'll kind of demonstrate that here. So we're going to create a little box, is all. And we're going to just click. Actually, yeah, we'll do it this way. We'll just make this at a 0 distance. Alright. And then basically when we do our groove, it's going to do it across a plane that is the extruded part of this rectangle here. And it's going to go right around this axis, this vertical axis, or technically the Z one. Alright, so we're going to close that, and we're going to pad that. Click here, sketch. Alright, now I've got this part. Now I guess Let's make some random geometry here. That'll work. It's going to be a kind of a weird groove, but hey, we got a weird pulley, right? So I'm going to click close. We're going to click on the sketch. Whenever you click on it, it should be green. That means it's selected. Groove it. Alright, and there we go. We just grooved it. Sweet. And then you can change the angle as well here if you wanted to. If you only wanted to groove a specific amount, that's in degrees. So I don't know if there's really, I don't think there's a unit change in FreeCAD to go to, let's say, specifically radians, if you wanted to work in radians, but if you wanted to, I guess it's your choice. We're going to create a sketch on the top there. Now this one right here, create an edge link to an external geometry. Boom. Right there. Alright, those are going to be important here in a second, because we're going to make this. We're going to constrain this rectangle to here. Oh, got to select two vertices. Alright, and so what we're basically doing is we're just getting rid of this thing. We're getting rid of this pad. Just erasing that part. And you'll see that here in a second. Actually, it's probably better to do a pocket in this case. Yep. We're going to get rid of that pocket. Alright. So now that we've done pad, we've done pocket, we've done a revolve and a groove. So let's take a look at how to do a fillet and a chamfer and a draft. So all we have to do is click on the specific line of interest. Man, that's difficult. Right there. Alright, so we clicked on a specific line of interest and we want to make a fillet. Now we just have to choose our radius. Pretty simple, straightforward. And that's in millimeters, of course, because that's the unit we chose. Now if we wanted to do the same thing with draft, this little thing here, or no, chamfer, I'm sorry. Just click on the line. Size. We can change that as well. Perfect. Sweet. So those two are fairly straightforward, fairly simple. That's why I like them. And then draft. Yeah, it doesn't like that one. I figured it wouldn't like that one. You got to select a face whenever you're doing a draft. And so your draft angle, you'll see what it's doing here in a second. So let's say we wanted to do 25 degrees. That plane seems to be having some problems. There's probably a geometry error going on. Oh, what do we got going on? Alright, so now that we've got chamfer and fillet, we've kind of figured that stuff out. We'll skip that. Now we just got to click here. So yeah, delete that part. Alright, so now we've kind of figured that out. Let's go ahead and make a polar pattern. Maybe there's a reason why we want to do a polar pattern for some reason. In a part like this, we'll go ahead and make a draft on this face. I was going to make a polar pattern out of that, but let's just go ahead and do this for good sakes. There. We got a slot. And with that slot, we just want to do that. Sweet. Alright. Then we got that pocket, and for some reason we want to do a polar pattern of that pocket. So gotta click on polar pattern here. We click the number of occurrences. You can see that automatically changing to update that geometry. So, and boom. Click OK. Looks like we're ready to go there. So that's the polar pattern. Let's see. Let's make a sketch on this face real quick. We'll do that. and then we'll extrude that with a pad. We'll go out 35 millimeters, and all we have to do is click on that feature, mirror it, and it'll automatically mirror around the axis. You can choose a horizontal axis if you like. It'll do it across that one. As you can kind of see, that line there seems to be that dividing line. We'll just keep it there. So that's a mirror right there. So it'll kind of mirror that across a specific axis, and it has its handy points at times, especially when you keep the entire shape's geometry in a specific place. Alright, now that we've done mirrored, one thing that we really have left, we do a linear pattern of a feature. We'll make a new sketch, some kind. We'll do some random feature as we've been doing before. You know, we'll do an octagon. Alright, close, and then we'll do excuse me. Now we will, let's go ahead and let's divot that a little bit. Pretty sweet. Alright, gonna do that pocket. Now I understand that it's highlighting the whole thing, but what's really going on is it's only really selecting that feature. So it's a very step-by-step process, and you have to be aware of that. So create a linear pattern, and then you choose your direction. So let's say in the length of 100 millimeters you want 5 occurrences. You can't really have them touch. So, or really you can have them touch, but they can't intersect each other per se. Let's go ahead, and we want to do a different axis. See, doesn't like that one. It needs to be actually part of the part. So we're going to keep on that horizontal sketch axis. Or if we wanted to, we could probably go in the reverse direction. And there we go. That's a length one. Now, that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned a lot of good things. I'll see you next time in part 5 of Learning FreeCAD. Thanks, guys. Bye.